Let's talk about PlayStation. So, the news this week that I think we all are aware of if we're in the video game world at all, PlayStation put out a blog post saying that as of January 2027, they will no longer be producing discs for the PlayStation, which means basically going forward as of January 2027, any game that comes out will be digital. And if you went to a store to pick it up, it would just have a code. It would not have a disc. Okay. Now, everybody under the sun is talking about this. Everybody under the sun has an opinion about this. I would say from what I've read, about 95% have one way, 5% have another way. For those who are new and don't know me personally, I am very good at seeing both sides of most arguments. And I'm not someone who's going to sit on the fence, but I can at least see both arguments. And this is a similar discussion. This does not surprise me because traditionally, over the past probably decade, we have gone mostly digital. Besides books, this is kind of the last physical medium we can get. Movies, music, all are basically digital. You can get DVDs, you can get Blu-rays, you can get CDs, you can get vinyl, and some of those are getting more popular than others. But for the most part, it is pretty much a digital world now when it comes to most medium. Which means if you are a company that produces these things, the cost is going up. Which means, for example, if you're a maker of DVDs or a maker of CDs, you would give someone a better cost if they ordered 10,000 than 1,000. So if you're PlayStation, you're going to pay twice as much if you only ordered a limited amount than if you bought, 10,000. And that also falls into shipping costs, design costs, and all that other stuff. Now, are they right to do this? No, I don't agree with it. First off, and this is something I think that everyone needs to remind PlayStation about, this needed to be more than a blog post. This is the analogy of being a mother and father, going to your kid's house and saying, "Hey kids, I really appreciate dinner. By the way, we're divorcing. We got to go." This should not have been a blog post. It is way too big of an impact and way too big of a topic to just do a paragraph. I'm sorry. That was the biggest fumble of them all. I think that if Sony came out and did what they should have done and said, we're going to do a state of play and we're going to explain our reasoning for it and explain, do an hour to a half hour of talking to the CEO and blah, 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 I think it would have been taken a lot better. Not perfect. 100%. I'm not saying that would have solved their problem. But just putting out a one paragraph post on your blog, that's a bad choice. That was their first bad choice. Second, if it is a production cost problem, if this is costing us way too much money, they're not selling enough, we have things in the world that can solve this. And it's a company that's been doing it for about a decade, if not longer, called Limited Run Games. And basically what they do is they'll get titles of usually digital games, and they will do a one-run pre-order a physical copy. And that has worked pretty darn well for that company for a pretty darn long time. I do not understand why PlayStation can't do something like that, if not partner with them specifically. Because I think if they came out and said, look, it's costing us way too much money to make these things. It's costing us way too much time, resources. What we're going to do is when, say, GTA comes out, you're going to buy straight from Sony. You can either buy digital, and it'll be a day one release, or we're going to do a pre-order, and whoever orders one will get one. It's going to arrive a little later, though, because we're not going to ship them out until the street date, just to solve any, like a Grand Theft Auto problem. That's an option. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to do that in the future, because I do think this is going to come. They're going to change their mind on this based off the outcry that everyone's had. And Justin Smith in chat says, Crystal said there's a petition up to 130,000 signatures saying they don't want this. There are ways to get around this. Another thing they shouldn't have done is they also should not have mentioned in the same post, also, we're also going to be closing the PS3 and Vita stores come July 2027. That was just and also, because that was also probably going to get some fight, because the PS3 is the first time we started using the store, which is the first time people started buying digital. So you've now taken your first store, which people bought a whole ton of stuff. And if you've not used your PS3 in a while, believe me, there's already stuff that you can't get again. I bought a whole ton of Rock Band and Guitar Hero songs that I cannot get anymore because the licensing went up on it. So Sony says this. Reports are coming out saying that Sony didn't think it would go this bad. I'm sorry. I think that is someone just trying to stir the pot, which is possible in this case. This is something I see many times in many different industries, and I've even seen it in my own workplace in the past, where management doesn't, and I use this term all the time, they don't see the forest for the trees. They're so deep in the world, they don't see what the outside world lives like and doesn't see the love for certain aspects of their business because they're too busy. We have to make profit because that's what businesses do. And I can guarantee you, there is at least one Sony employee when that post went out and the backlash started, said either the term, I told you this is what was going to happen, or they kept their mouth shut. There's no way every single employee was like, this is the best thing we could do today. I can guarantee you there's at least one that threw up their hands and was like, saw this coming a mile away. Because those are usually the people who are gamers that know exactly what this world is like. I think this is the dumb choice. And I think based off the reception that they've got, I think this is going to be pulled back. Whether it'll be pulled back forever or not, I don't think so. I do think we are going to go digital at some point. As I said the same thing when Xbox said they were going to go digital. And there was going to be, physical wasn't really going to be in their portfolio anymore. It's going to happen sooner or later. And also, I want to point this out. I've seen a bunch of people commenting and posting saying that from now on, or as of January 2027, everything's going to be full price. That's jumping to a conclusion that isn't true. I get you're frustrated, but there's no way that's going to happen because that would just kill their entire business. If you go on the PlayStation Network right now, you can find a ton of games for cheaper than they are at retail. And that's even with EB Games and GameStop and stuff. There's been a ton of games that I've downloaded because I don't really care if I have a physical copy of it or not, that are way cheaper than you can find physical unless you go searching real hard to find one, like on a Facebook Marketplace or something like that. So the idea that once it hits January 2027, there's going to be no sales and you're never going to get anything dirt cheap again, don't jump to that conclusion because your argument just falls apart. Justin Smith says there's no reason to buy a PlayStation going forward and how much they keep increasing prices and no physical media now. Get a gaming PC. There's more advantages. Honestly, I kind of agree. At this point because it's kind of hard not to think that way. I mean, everything's kind of cross-platform now. It's kind of hard not to, unless they're going to pull back on their exclusives. That's the only thing that can save them now, in my opinion, if they're going to stick with this. Funny enough, even today, I've got a Switch downstairs. We're about to go on vacation, and I was like, I'd like to get a new game to play on the plane ride, and if I ever get some downtime while we're on vacation. And I've been looking online and I went to EB, and I couldn't find anything really worth it. I was just coincidentally searching top Switch games just to see, maybe there's something out of the blue. Do you know that the Switch has a Portal collection? Portal 1 and 2 for the Switch digital for $8? It's on sale right now for $8. I checked the PlayStation Network. PlayStation doesn't even have that game, neither of those games anymore. So, I'm not saying that's an exclusive Switch title. I played Portal 2 on PlayStation. So, I downloaded it for the Switch. I'd rather have it on my PlayStation because I'm kind of a trophy whore. But I just don't. No, I just don't. I'm always going to be a PlayStation fanboy until they do something absolutely reprehensible. But kind of similar with the Switch 2, I'm good with my PS5, and I didn't get a PS5 till couple years into its life cycle. So I'm not, even with this stands, I'm not kicking the door down looking for a PS6. And at that point, kind of like you said, Justin, if the PS6 is all of this and it's going to be digital and all that, you should never have to buy another console again. Plain and simple. Because the big thing of the Switch is the disc drive. You went from CDs, you went to DVDs, you went to Blu-rays. That's a jump. But this, if you're going to PS6 and it's digital, I shouldn't have to get another console after that. And at that point, buy a PC. Your TV's basically a giant monitor. And in the world of today, you can get emulators for pretty much everything. So you could just give yourself a gaming PC and just play every game that's ever been made. So, new games, $89 a pop, no physical case to enjoy is awful. To pay that for something they can just take away is not cool. Yeah, I don't get it. That's kind of the benefit. I've talked about it here, and again, I don't want to go too much longer on this because we still have 15 games to go through. It's kind of been my argument about people when I tell them how much the PlayStation Premium is. It literally renewed yesterday, and it was with tax $218, and everyone's like, "You paid $218 for a subscription service," and I'm like, "Yeah, but the thing is, it's $90 a game, $80 a game. Let's say they're on 50% off. That's $40 a game. I play more than 6 games. I'm making money. Really." And I'm a gamer, so I'm not someone who's just I'm waiting for the next Call of Duty or I'm waiting for one franchise. If I play more than 8 games, I'm pretty much made my money. And I'll do that in a year easily. I'll at least test a bunch of them. And if I like them, cool. And if I don't, oh well, it's technically free money. I might as well just keep trying stuff out. So, yeah, this was a dumb choice. More important, not a dumb choice in going digital. I think that is going to be something we're going to have to just bite the bullet in. I'm not happy about it. I like collecting games. I only like collecting certain ones, but I think the way they did it was stupid, and I think them just kind of going into no communication since then has kind of been dumb too, because it just makes people think, it makes people wonder, it makes people come up with ideas, and that's just not going to make the situation any better. So I hope in the next few days, next few weeks, they announce a state of play or some press conference or something, because this is just not going to go well for them. And if they think it's just going to be a news cycle thing where something else is going to happen, because I saw someone say that they're waiting for Xbox to lay off people, so they're like, oh, see, Xbox can take them. No, this is not something that's just going to go away. This is going to stick with them until they tell us a little more information. So not a good job, PlayStation. Not a good job.